In Britain in the early 1940s, Raoul Hafner, an Austrian immigrant, and the staff of the Airborne Forces Experimental Establishment, or AFEE, developed a variety of one-man autogyro gliders known as rotor-chutes. The rotor-chute was a single-place, strap-on rotor kit in place of a conventional parachute, intended to drop a paratrooper from a large, specially designed transport aircraft. On 11 February 1942, the prototype rotor-chute was first manually flown. Several more towed flights were also successful, reaching heights up to 100 feet while under tow behind a Jeep. Although the rotor-chute concept had proved to be practical, the operational requirement for such a machine never materialized. But Hafner thought he could apply the same principle that he had proven with the rotor-chute to a larger-scale military vehicle. On 3 April 1942, the rotary-wing section of the AFEE submitted a proposal for the application of the system to be called the Hafner Rotabuggy, or more militarily, the ML-10/42 Flying Jeep. The advantages of rotary-wing systems were seen as simplicity, cheapness, and the ability to land in confined spaces, towing speeds of up to 160 miles per hour and a load carrying capacity of up to 3,500 pounds with a 50-foot rotor diameter were predicted. The design work was carried out by the AFEE staff, while most of the construction was undertaken by two private companies, R. Malcolm Limited and H. Morris & Sons. The basic Jeep was fitted with a pylon to support the two-bladed rotor and a fairing to carry the tail surfaces. The tail fairing was a plywood structure attached at 4 points to the rear of the Jeep and cabin. Because considerable load was transmitted through the fairing in some conditions of flight and in heavy landing, the Jeep was strengthened locally at the points of attachment. The twin-spar tailplane had trimming flaps on either side which were adjustable on the ground by means of turnbuckles. Large end-plate fins were set at a slight angle to give incident relative to the local airflow. Replacing the standard Jeep windscreen was a streamlined sheet metal framework with perplex seats. The remainder of the cabin was built of plywood. Access doors with large perplex panels were fitted both sides. In the cockpit, a special dashboard on the starboard side contained an airspeed indicator, a rotor speed indicator, a sensitive altimeter, and a turn and slip indicator. A standard telephone system via the tow rope allowed the pilot to communicate with the tug pilot, the amplifier and batteries being located behind the right seat. The pilot sat in the right front seat, but an alternative arrangement was made for dual controls for a second pilot in the left seat. The Rotabuggy could carry a pilot and a small load, together with a tank of fuel and a spare wheel, spare gas tank, tools, and tire chains. The first trial was conducted on 16 November 1943, with the unit being towed behind a Diamond T lorry, but the lorry could not get enough speed to put the Rotabuggy in the air. A more powerful vehicle, a supercharged 4.5-liter Bentley automobile, was used on 27 November to finally allow the machine to become airborne and in tests could obtain glide speeds of 45 miles per hour. Later tests were made towed behind an Armstrong Whitworth Whitley bomber. After almost 60 test flights on 11 September 1944, a 10-minute full free flight was achieved, and the Jeep reached a height of 400 feet at a speed of 65 miles per hour and landed. However, this day turned out to be its last flight. The introduction of gliders that could carry vehicles, such as the Waco Hydrian and Airspeed Horsa, made the Rotabuggy superfluous and further development was canceled.